Hi everyone, welcome back to the International Careers Club podcast. I'm here with Mr. Shah. He is CEO and founder of Solvio Strategic Solutions. Um, and he is joining us here from Texas. Would you like to introduce yourself further? Anything you might want to add on to that in your current
Yeah,
capacity?
sure. Yeah, hi everybody. My name is Shashin Shah, and I'm into the IT industry. I'm a serial entrepreneur. Um, Basically, I build, grow IT companies, and seek for successful exits.
Mhm.
So this is my fifth venture. I've had four IT companies in the past that I built and exited out, mostly through strategic acquisitions. So this is my fifth company called Solvio Inc. And Solvio is really specializing and focusing on Salesforce consulting and implementation services.
Fantastic.
So that's what I'm doing right now.
Great. So I want to get into the acquisitions part because that's something that's really interesting and a lot of people, young people, are looking towards. Um, but to begin with, I understand you began your studies in India and then it began in electrical engineering and then slowly went to Florida where you studied computer science. How did your education bring you into industry? What was that like back in when you did that?
You need to keep in mind that what we are referring to here is about uh, 27 years ago, right?
Yeah.
The world and the industry was very different at that time.
Hmm.
The overall economics and the overall opportunities were very different, were very less.
Hmm.
I did electrical engineering. Actually, it's funny because I actually wanted to be a chemical engineer.
Hmm.
I missed
Interesting.
out by two merit points. The guy standing just in front of me, this is back in India. They have a merit system, and then, any college that you want to apply, there is a long queue of people standing. They go there, and whatever seat is available, they opt for it. I wanted to be a chemical engineer. I lost the last seat to the guy standing in front of me. So the only other seat available was in electrical engineering. I said, okay,
Hmm.
let's do electrical engineering.
Fantastic.
I completed 4 years somehow, and then came to US just for opportunities.
Fantastic.
I had no idea uh,
Hmm.
where and how the career and the opportunities will take me. Um, so here at that time there was quite some traction and interest in computer engineering and computer science. I applied for it, came here,
Right.
completed computer engineering, not the computer science, computer engineering, which is mostly on the IT networking space. I completed that in 1998, and the first job that I got was in computer science. So I did my bachelor's in electrical engineering, I did my master's in computer engineering, and I got a job in computer science.
Hmm.
Um, you know, I will say, I mean, this is my personal take on it. To answer your question, uh, I, in my experience, my own experience, and looking around all my friends and colleagues, and everybody, a couple of thousand people that I have in my network on LinkedIn, I don't think there is a direct correlation between what you study and what you end up
Right.
having your career. What is really important during your studies is, your approach,
Yep.
the sincerity, the approach, and the discipline that we have.
Hmm.
There is a reason why there are those set timings and the projects and the deadlines and all that is to fine tune and to you know uh, kind of train the individual to attend to those projects and those deadlines. The actual application of one's capability and
Mm-hmm.
the ability to learn and the ability to apply really comes on the field. Doesn't matter what that domain is. So
Sure.
yes, uh, basically ended up in computer science job. I did the job in my last 20, 25 years of career, about 26 years of career. The first 11 to 12 years was doing jobs in large organizations and having experience in multiple different departments, whether it is software solutions, whether it is building applications for marketing, for sales, for international business, the community platforms, whatever that is. The first 11, 12 years was doing job in Carnival Cruise Lines in Miami, and then
Mm-hmm.
in Intel for 10 years. And I did a little bit of stint in a couple of different startups. My real experience and exposure in the business world as a entrepreneur, as a C-level executive, and then as a founder started really just 12 years ago. And since then, one after another, there were four successful companies that I built and then exited out.
Mm-hmm.
So really, there was no real mapping. You cannot jot down a plan or put a roadmap that this is how I will do.
Mm-hmm.
It's how best and how quickly you grab the opportunity that comes in front of you, and then how uh, diligently that you follow and how well you execute. The
Yep.
key is execution, not the
Mm-hmm.
plan.
Yep. Totally agree. And as you mentioned with the roadmap and the planning, um, taking a bit of a turn into your ventures and your career as a founder slash CEO. When you started your first company back 12 years ago, the world is in a pretty different economic landscape from then, and we've seen rapid exponential growth like we've never seen in history, especially in the technological space that you've been a part of. Um, Through each venture, have you seen a substantial difference in speed and the way each company functions, where the points in which you have to reach to make your business successful?
That's a very interesting question. Uh, there is no fixed or a predefined recipe for a
Hmm.
successful business. Uh, it's not written anywhere or a you know rule of thumb or a law that okay you need to follow this XYZ or ABC 1 2 3 and then your business will be successful. I mean I don't think that's the case. Yeah, yes, there are some basic parameters, some basic guidelines that you need to be careful about to make sure that you the business doesn't die or it doesn't get impacted.
Hmm.
But for the success of the business, there is no fixed recipe. I think, as you said earlier, there is a lot of excitement, a lot of interest, and each and every uh, uh, fresh graduate wants to be entrepreneur, wants to launch a startup or do some business. There is nothing wrong in it.
Yeah.
There is absolutely nothing wrong in it. It's a great aspiration, great thing to do. But I think what I will say, my message out there would be that also, yes, the passion is important. Without passion, we cannot do anything. But at the
Yeah.
same time, we need to look at the opportunity, the market landscape, the overall execution part of it. You
Hmm.
know, we often say, okay, I want to build a product, I want to launch it out there, I want to create my own brand. It's not that easy.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, uh, my last four successful ventures have been mainly because of I kind of attached my company with an existing bigger brand.
Yeah.
I did not launch my own products. I
Hmm.
launched IT services company. So my job was to set up a business set up all the basic, workforce, and then, do sales each and every day, acquire new customers, fulfill the delivery and the implementation, and move on project by project. But
Mhm.
the key ingredient in each of those ventures was the partnership. Partnership is extremely important.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, you know, it is not easy to go solo. It is not easy to build a new brand all by ourselves. We need to partner. We need to find the right alliances. We need to find the right catalyst that will help, boost our business. We
Yeah.
need to find the right market landscape. We should not to the entire there. Try identify companies. We need to try and specialize, create certain niche areas that we specialize, where we can go out there, we can represent ourselves as the expert in this, or this.
Yeah.
If we go out there and generalize, then it is very difficult. So
For
in
sure.
all my four ventures, my first venture was specializing in the open source software. So
Okay.
we started our business as trainers and eventually became service providers. But our specialization, or the key, was that we are specialists in open source software implementation. The second venture was on the data management. I partnered with an existing product company in Austria, Salzburg, Austria, called Pimcore. So I became a global strategic implementation and services partner of an existing brand called Pimcore. So that brand value got attached to my company and helped get my company the required, 50% of recognition right from day one.
Yeah.
The other 50%, I had to build that recognition and the the trust through our implementation and services and expertise. But the
Yeah.
first 50% that is needed to go out there in the market, I already got it because there was an existing brand. The
Mhm.
third company, it was very different. I I built that company based on an existing few accounts, large enterprises that I had built the relation and the trust over the last 15 years. So I carried forward those accounts and built the revenue and the margin and the profit, and our overall P&L was built around those certain defined three or four enterprise customers. The fourth venture was very interesting. I tied up with an existing IT services company, and I said, I don't want to build a company. I want to specialize and focus on business development. And in return, we entered into a strategic agreement where they would pay my company a business development value fees. So that was sort of the acquisition, not of acquisition of people, but the acquisition of the customers.
Okay.
So acquisitions are in various different forms. Acquisition could be a share transfer. Acquisition could be of just the asset transfer. Acquisition could be of more of a strategic nature, or acquisition could be that, okay, you have built a company, we will acquire 70% or 80%. You continue to hold 20, 30%, and we want you to continue building the company. And then at the end of 3 years, 4 years, or 5 years, we will sell that company, that business again, and you will get the 20% proportionate return of the value at that time. So now
Mhm.
my fifth venture, it is a kind of a similar in nature, where I build it and then I have a predefined exit after 3 years with a predefined buyer. So both the buyer after 3 years and me as a seller are locked in. And at the end of 3 years, based on a certain brackets that are defined, the revenue bracket and the EBITDA, the net margin brackets and the profit brackets, there will be multipliers, and it will be acquired. So, but all this is easier said than done.
Yeah.
The key, I will repeat, the key ingredient is how well you attach yourself with an existing brand, how well you partner and build
Mhm.
alliances in order to move faster. and so that you can focus on execution, not necessarily focus 90% of your energy in brand development.
Yep. That's a lot of valuable insight. And what you can kind of take away from that is the importance of networking, the importance of making connections with people because you don't know when those connections might come in handy. Because let's say one day you're working in a professional space, and then years down the line, if we decide to take a route such as yours, those connections can come in extremely valuable. One thing
It's
I did,
very, it's very, sorry, it's very
yeah,
interesting that you brought this point. At the end of my second venture exit,
yeah,
there was a private equity group who had made an offer, and there
hmm
was an IT company who had made an offer, and there was a third company who made an offer. I decided to go with the third. When I decided to go with the third, the first offer guys, the PE group, and the second IT company were quite disappointed,
hmm
and they were quite unhappy that I did not go with them. Guess what? My third venture was bought by the PE group, and my fourth venture was bought by that second buyer IT company. So this is the value of the relationship and the networking.
yeah, for
Is
sure,
once you come across a certain individual or an entity or an institution or an organization, whether it is profit or non-profit, whether it is NGO, whether it is anybody, each and every connection, each and every uh, relation carries its own value.
yeah,
And we need to be cognizant of the fact that at what time and in what manner you want to capitalize or use that network and those relations.
yeah,
It doesn't have to be always from a business standpoint. And my experience is that don't always uh, reach out to your network when you need them.
yeah,
Reach out to your network when they need you.
hmm
Focus on giving, focus on contributing without expectation of any returns. Returns will automatically come.
yeah. Uh, for sure. And I think it plays something that my father once told me, and that's to look for the solution. To reach out when you can just give something, because that's what provides the most value. Asking is very easy. The giving part is much more difficult. And that's what stands out. I wanted to ask you about some challenges because you mentioned the momentum that you carry throughout each business, but has there been a point where you've seen the momentum maybe slow down or maybe even go in the opposite direction where you have to pivot and maybe fix an issue? Any challenges that have presented themselves um that you've seen as an extreme barrier to make it to the next level?
Look, there is no business that can sail through without challenges. There are always going to be ups and downs. It's like sailing in an ocean. It is unrealistic to expect that I'll put a boat in the ocean and I'll sail through from one continent to another. It's not going to happen.
Yep.
There are going to be small waves, big waves. There are going to be times when it is very easy. The wind blows and you don't even have to do anything. You sail through. There are all kinds of experiences. The the uh, the focus or the what we should be worrying about is not whether the challenge will come or not. What we should be worrying about is our own strength, our own capability, and to face those challenges. Challenges are definitely going to come. It's never going to be easy or all the way. Sometimes will be easy, sometimes will be difficult. In my second venture, right when I decided to exit out, COVID happened,
Yep.
early 2020. And
hmm
I was almost at the rock bottom. I did not have enough cash flow to pay for my own. I had about roughly about 285, 290, close to 300 people in my payroll. I did not know how to pay them. how to process that payroll. All my customers, 80% of my customers were retail. And the retail was one industry segment that was heavily impacted because of COVID. So they reached out to me saying that instead of 30, 45-day net payment, they will give me payment after 6 months. So my cash flow dried up. But you have to constantly try and identify ways. We reached out, we started giving discounts. Fortunately, I did not have to cut the payroll or cut the salary of any of my employees. I took the cut. I took about almost 100% cut for the 3 months. But eventually, it worked out. We have to work it out. We have to change our offerings. We have to change our rate cards. We have to change the way you do business. We have to cut down on expenses. The Out of everything else, there are so many aspects in a business. There's sales, marketing, support, HR, kinds of things. The most important thing in a business to run it successfully is the cash flow management.
Mhm.
Revenue is not that important. Cash flow is more important. The profitability is more important. So we need to make sure that whether it is a challenge or not, whether it is good times or bad times, the cash flow management, the profitability of the business does not go down. Many people go under the illusion that, oh, I talked with such customer XYZ, they have promised me they will give business. That's an illusion. Until unless that customer does not sign the contract, until unless the project doesn't start, until unless the cash, the payment starts coming in, you cannot expect a piece of paper writing all those plans. And that's why I said execution is more important. Plan is nothing. Plan can change every day.
Yep.
So until unless the cash doesn't start coming in, all those false promises is nothing. But yeah, coming back to your point about challenges, it's going to happen. But we need to be very flexible, and that's what the startup is, right?
Yep.
Large organizations, if you go to Microsoft or if you go to IBM, large organizations, they are not that flexible. But if
Mhm.
you are a CEO or an entrepreneur or owner of a startup, we got to be flexible. We
Yep.
got to change ways. We need to act like water, who always tries to figure out a path.
Yep. And one interesting part I picked up on was you talked about how you had to take cuts during COVID. Your line of work is a little bit backwards to conventional industry. If you speak to a person who makes partner, for example, at a big four firm, or somebody who's maybe climbing the corporate ranks, as you get more senior in your position, you have more availability to take a step back and to be a little bit more passive and delegate. And for you, I'm assuming you can correct me if I'm wrong. Uh, keep taking on more and more because you're in the position where the buck stops with you. It's your project, it's your company.
There is no way, th- it is not possible for me to become passive.
Yeah,
Otherwise, the business will go down.
yeah,
What you said is correct, that people working in large organizations who keep on climbing up the ladder, become from whatever the ground level to the vice president or executive vice president, director level. Yes, in those stages, they often tend to become passive
yeah,
because they don't get to the ground level to do hands-on tasks. So it becomes sometimes very boring, sometimes very lonely, and sometimes extremely passive. You're right. But being in the business world, being as an entrepreneur, and being in a small scale business like mine, uh,
hmm
you need to be up on the toes all the time, 24 by 7, um, to stay competitive, and as I mentioned, to make sure the cash flow management is done correctly.
hmm
But I have also seen people in large organization climbing up the ladder, and they are not passive.
Yeah.
It's up to the each individual.
Yeah.
They are self-motivated. They even at this age, at the 50s, even after 25, 30, 35 years of industry experience, they still go to colleges. They still learn. They still get certifications.
Yeah.
It is completely up to the individual. Self-motivation is something that is extremely important, not just for a 20-year-old, but also for a 50-year-old, a 60-year-old. It applies to all age groups
Yeah.
and in all areas.
And
So yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
no, go ahead. So,
I assume that you are one of those people that prefers to stay involved, that gains personal reward from being so involved. You enjoy it because this isn't a situation where uh you make this choice for fun or because you have to. It's a choice that you make because you enjoy it and you enjoy the challenge.
yeah, I mean, I would be lying if I would say that, oh, I'm motivated all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm motivated 24 by 7. Oh, I love challenges. No, I mean, I'm a human being. Everybody is a human being. There are ups and downs. There are times when you feel completely lost. There are times when you feel that I am nobody. I am not capable. I cannot do it. Oh, this is impossible. Oh, everybody else is better than me. Oh, I failed. Those are natural feelings. I mean, it will definitely happen. Everybody's life. I will doubt even the president of United States is motivated and charged up all the time. We have not seen him or her when they are in private. We don't know.
Yeah.
It's just the outside. So uh, again, it is all about the approach, the attitude, right? It is not about the capability. It is not about how good you look or how capable you are or how intelligent or technical you are. It is all about how much we try to keep a positive and a forward looking attitude. It's not going to work all the time, but at least we should try, right?
Yeah.
The effort is important. It happens or not, it's not in our hands. There are so many factors, but we have to consistently put efforts.
Thank you so much. And I think the underlying message from this episode is that effort, determination, and hard work is
And never give up.
and never give
Never
up.
ever. Somebody in a tech talk, it was a very famous discussion. Somebody asked, what is more important, hard work or smart work? There were 50% say hard work, 50% say smart work. Somebody said, do hard work, but do smartly.
Yep.
The final answer that came out is neither hard work nor smart work, nor hard work with smartness. What is most important is the passion, that attitude of never ever giving up. Never give up. You will fail. I failed in 5 startups. Five of my, we talked about my successes, the last four successful exits and the fifth one. But there are 5 ventures that failed. It did not work out.
Mm-hmm.
It was heartbreaking. There were times when I thought, okay, it's done. I'm over.
Mm-hmm.
But never, ever give up. Consistent effort.
I mean, that's a saying that is easier said than done, but you proved that it can be done. You've applied it to your life, and it has in many ways paid off. I'd like to thank you so much for taking the time. It's been incredibly interesting speaking with you. You have a plethora of
Th-
information. Uh,
Thank you. Thank you for calling me. Yeah, it was a pleasure. Thanks.
great.
And all the best.
Thank you so much. And that'll be all. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching, and I'll see you later.
Okay. Thank you.
Great.